today we will have a different style of sermon today. It will not just be the pastor preaching, but it will be us. So I'm grateful for Lyle, Paul, and Starling who's going to share, because we all are gifted with something we call life. When we are gifted with life, our life is full of many stories. And just the problem that sometimes we forgot to dig into the stories and to just remember. We like sometimes to remember even difficult things and not really the good things. We like to remember difficult people in our life, but we forgot that many good people were a blessing in our life who helped us to be where we are today. So this will be a combination of us sharing the stories. So we'll start with Lyle and then Paul and Starling. Okay.
Okay, I am thankful for a fellow math teacher. We taught in the same building for 15 years. We had some, some enjoyable social times, so I was able to see him in contact or interacting with others and learn his approach to life in general. He shared with me his cabin on in the Park Rapids Lake. These times we could talk about life in general, about our family, and about teaching. He was born in Latvia, which was close to Germany. In the Second World War, his family left their home and walked to a neutral country. It took them about a year to get to the United States. He said that a large rancher in Texas paid for their way if they would work on his ranch for 2 years. He often talked about his mom and dad and how they dealt with a new place to live and support their children. I remember distinctly once on the way home from Park Rapids at a Dairy Queen when he interacted with a special needs person. His desire to help and talk to the individual was an example of his thoughtfulness for others. Of all the time we spent at work or at a social outing, not once did I hear him speak negative about others. He was a special person in my life.
Morning. I'm thankful to all my fellow congressmen here with whom I've been attending this church for the past maybe 8 or 6 years now. I'm grateful to my wife, to my kids, to my cousin, to my brother in this church today. I am especially grateful to my parents, to my late parents who brought me up in this world some 45 years ago. They have passed away. I think my dad passed in 23 years ago, and my mom in 2002, meaning 21 years ago. I'm really grateful to them for the education, for the sacrifice, bringing 9 of us up. We literally never be hungry. We never work with no clothing. We never really been starved, like most of some families, in a little town that we grew up to. I'm especially grateful to my in-law, that my older sister husband, who literally took me under his wing back in 1987 and started paying my school fees educating me. Not just because my dad couldn't pay, but because he picked me up. I said, this will be my son moving forward. He passed away 3 years ago. May their soul rest in peace. Under his watch, I literally earned all my degrees. Even coming here in the United States, he was the one putting me in the airplane to come over here. I'm really grateful to all those people who impacted my life, who made me who I am. Without them, I won't be here in front of you today. I'm really grateful to all things that God has done for me and my family up to today. And I pray God to still be my provider and continue to build whatever He has started for me to accomplish His mission here on earth before He called me over. But I pray to God as well to let me enjoy fully as long as possible. And go even over His mission. And definitely, when I leave this world, living this world with great impact that may inspire the next generation of human beings. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm very grateful for my grandmother, Elizabeth Ethel McGinnis. Mema grew up singing gospel with her sisters in the Family Methodist Church, but she also smoked and cussed, and at times worked in nightclubs and as a fashion model, which good Methodist girls in the South did not do. My conservative evangelical mother did not always approve. But Mema loved people more than anyone I ever knew, and probably more than anyone I ever will know. Her fierce love for her family is the stuff of legend. My father would brag that he had the best mother-in-law on the planet. Mema loved fully, wholeheartedly, and unconditionally. She was not stupid or a pushover. She just took Christ's commandment to love one another very seriously. One time, my Uncle David needed some help getting back on his feet. I don't know the details. I don't know if this was the first time he was down on his luck or if he was constantly in need, but Mema and Papa disagreed on whether or not they should help him. Papa was dead set against it, and Mema thought he needed a hand up. And so Mema moved out, got an apartment with Uncle David, and helped him get his life back together. I don't know how long this took, but the stories imply it was always less than a year. And once Uncle David had his life together and could stand on his own 2 feet, Mema moved back in with Papa. They were together until the day she died. She never left their marriage. She never stopped loving him. And to my knowledge, she never held a grudge over their disagreement. She loved everybody. And her disagreement with Papa over Uncle David wasn't a heartbreaking, life-shattering, marriage-ending event. She loved Papa right up to the point where he told her she couldn't show love to someone else. And then she crossed that line and showed him she could love them both, even if it hurt a little for a while. She had proven her love to him over and over through the years as he struggled with severe PTSD from his service in World War II. I don't think there was ever a situation without redemption for my grandmother. She was never estranged from anyone. Her love was a secure constant. She and Papa were living in a camper when they built a new house, when she was diagnosed with cancer. I remember thinking the camper was the coolest thing, and I have vivid memories of lying in bed, wrapped safe in her arms, listening to the rain beat on the side of the metal camper. She had this amazing gift of making you feel loved and safe, and that she was always on your side, even when she disapproved of your choices. Once, she discovered that my mother had kept a shocking secret from my sister. She whipped the car around the moment she learned of this deception and headed home to have a come-to-Jesus meeting with my mother, advocating for my teenage sister's right to the truth. She sat at that kitchen table and loved them both, even as she pushed them to do the right thing. When she found out she had cancer, she kept coming up with reasons for my grandfather to delay construction on the house. He wanted it finished so that she would be comfortable. But Mama told my mother that if she died in that house, Papa would never live in it. So she kept delaying and lived out her last days in a camper. When my grandfather finished the house after her death, he covered the walls with pictures of her. I was 6 years old when she died, but she made a profound impact on my life. She taught me to love people like your life depends on it, and that love is worth sacrificing for. And she taught me that the influence that you have on a small child is immeasurable. They will remember more than you can imagine. Love doesn't end with a disagreement. It doesn't end with anger or disappointment. It doesn't end with misunderstanding. Love doesn't end when we need forgiveness, either to receive or give. I'm very grateful today for my loving Mama. If I have any capacity to love others, it's because she taught me how.
I'm grateful for all the stories that we heard today that remind us that we all have something to offer, to remind us that we are not alone, and all of you can be a great preachers better than your pastor. So you have a lot of stories and you have a lot of things to offer. So I'm very grateful that to remind all of us is really when we try to be grateful is not trying to be a superhuman. Is actually trying to feed your soul something is missing. Remember, and those who I give you homework to go and think about people you are really grateful for. The first thing you will happen is you're going to dig in your library that we call your memory. You're going to look for somebody that somehow you love them, but somehow you forgot them. Somehow by the days and by the business that we have in our life, they get pushed back, but they're not dead, but they are there in our memories. And a day like this is a wonderful gift for us to say, go back, dig into your library, and bring these people back to life. A day like this, that when we come closer, should be very grateful that we have a day on the calendar that reminds us to be thankful as a nation, as a human. But I think, too, from a Christian perspective, this is more than just an American celebration of the Thanksgiving. It's part of our faith to remember those who were there for us. It's easy when we stand up and life is good and it seems like the day is full of strings. We forgot the moments when we were thrown down and we were looking desperate for somebody to hold our hands and pick us up. It seems this from psychologists say that's what people do in psychology because you try to block somehow bad memories. You don't want to remember these. I understand that. But the loss of that, you forgot those who were there for you. You don't want to remember the moment when you were vulnerable, when you were crying out for help, when you're trying to say, please, I need help. And even your dignity was really kind of like, is not happy with you crying out for help. But when we do that, because we are deeply in deep need, when we even have to quieten things that's our being proud or our dignity, say, we need to survive. So if even our psychologies, our conscience try to block these moments out, I think by faith, try to remember, but without somebody helping me and taking my hand, I will not be here today. It's very good from time to time to go and dig into this library of the difficult memories, because the good memories were born out of these difficult memories. The moment of victory, if you call a moment of victory in your life, they were not born in a vacuum. They were born out of a desperate weakness moment in your life, where you felt defeated fully, but you never understood that out of defeat, God made a room for you. Out of desperation, God made many hands reaching out to you and say, I am here to help and stand with you, behind you, and guide you. I hope this day is not a day in our calendar to remember that when we come together as a family and act polite and be nice to each other. And everybody try to bite their tongues until the supper is done and everybody goes home. I hope it goes beyond that. It goes about true relationship. About true relationship that it has sense and has joy. True relationship that's always can say the truth that sometimes can hurt, but the truth that comes with love. Not the truth that's not like a knife. I see there is always a difference in the practice. The practice looks the same. If you see a butcher is cutting the piece of meat, or if you see a surgeon is opening somebody out to heal them from a disease. From the outside, they both look really in a very terrible scene. If you look what the surgeon is doing and what is the butcher is doing from the outside. But knowing the intention of what's behind it makes you look at these two people differently. So that's what really is the love that we are inspired by God for us today. How to be grateful not just for one moment, not just for one day. Not only for when life is good, but also when life is difficult, to inspire you to keep going. Do not be grateful when you are sitting on the beach and it's a sunny day and everything looks nice and good. Try to practice to be gratefulness even in the middle of your difficult moment. Why and how? Because simply you are encouraging yourself to say, keep going, because that's what the Lord did for you in the past. When you were desperate and looked for help and thought there is no help, God forgot me. There is no way out of that. And God keeps surprising you and gives you a way out. And keeps God laughing with you, hopefully not at you, and just say, you see, I surprised you. When you have no hope, no faith in life, and no humans, and no hope in many humans, and God keeps surprising you until I got you many times. Even so, when you walk in the moment when you are not seeing even a way out, being grateful would sound hard, but being grateful is you recalling the memory to say, yes, keep walking, there is a way out. Keep looking for something. Keep reaching out for somebody, and God will send you somebody or someone in the right time. And as I try to close with you about how to be grateful, I'm really very grateful for this church. I'm grateful for a church that I can call family. Remember that not everybody, for whatever reason, like my biological family all in Egypt, and God surprised me with my brothers here who came recently. But really, a church is not just a fancy place for me and I come and just listen to the sermon and I go. It replaced the hole that I cannot because my family is far away from me. And around this time, this is a very hard time for those people in my situation to remember what they're not having. So instead of crying and being at home and feeling victim of not being, a church is not a cliche when we say a church should be a family. It's not just a matter of being nice. It's not a matter of just having a nice statement. It is truly a saving for those who cannot say, I have family anymore, for whatever reason. For an end of relationship, for geographically being far away, for disagreement from our biological families, for many, many things. So the church is a shelter for many people like me, and for many people who maybe cannot say that out loud. The church is a place to protect us from despair, from sadness, from sitting at home and crying and feeling like, look, everybody's together and I'm here by myself. So just to remember that, when I use myself here as an example and talk about myself and my vulnerability, there are many people feel even worse and maybe cannot speak and cannot say it out loud. So this is our gift. You're really a gift, just being who you are. being a gift by being the church is open. So those who are wandering around and feeling lost and have nobody, they can have a place to go to. Those who are so cold from the life and they are looking for a shelter to save them from the cold life and the harshness of life. Just a great gift that to be a church. Just being who you are. Even if you're one member or two members or 10, it doesn't matter. As far as you are open and you provide this place, you save many people. So I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful that we can be Christian, we can be open, and we can be a shelter, and we can exist, and we can still, yes, you're not alone. You may feel lonely outside. Let's all together will not be lonely. All those who cannot say that we are having the same gift like to have our family that we used in the past. Death, end of relationship, geographically being not connected with all of these people, they cannot say the same thing about family the same way. But the church filled the gap and say, let's cry together, let's laugh together, let's eat together. Let's know we all have stories about the family that we used to have. But let's enjoy the family that we have today together. I'm truly very grateful for all of you and for this church. And I pray to continue this way as long as give us day on earth. Amen.
So now it's the time that we're